go down the rabbit hole a little bit further. Hell, we have to, because there's things going on our media is not reporting on. So if you'll do just a little digging around, you'll find there are other medical professionals out there that are just as qualified, just as bona fide, that aren't saying what mainstream media is saying.
Reflected in the tweet that I put out when I said, as an MIT PhD in biological engineering, it's my view that the fear-mongering is really being used to suppress dissent. It's being used to support mandated medicine. We live in a world right now where it's very easy to use ignorance and fear and to use those two prongs to really impose policy on people. And the person that's imposing this policy right now on all of the citizens of this country is a gentleman by the name of Anthony Fauci. This picture pretty much captures what this individual is about. He is not Anthony Fauci, an individual. He actually represents, he's a face of multiple entities. In this case, I have at least about 7 of them who work together. These people are extremely, extremely tight with pharma. In particular, they know, as I've shared over and over again, that the pharmaceutical industry, when it comes to pharmaceutical drugs, which are synthetic compounds that they have to go through a whole regulatory process, are actually failing. Year over year, pharma's investing more and more in R&D. They're getting less and less new allowances by the FDA. Even the FDA, which has a revolving door with big pharma, is recognizing that these drugs have major side effects, so they're getting less and less new allowances.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is donating up to $100 million toward coronavirus relief efforts. The organization said in a press release Wednesday the funds will be used to help strengthen detection, isolation, and treatment efforts, and develop vaccines, treatments, and diagnostics.
How come nobody ever told me the best way to get rich is to give all your damn money away? Bill, what you doing giving all your money away?
And which activities like mass gatherings may be, in a certain sense, more optional. And so until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all.
Oh, so you're not giving your money away. You are making an investment in coronavirus. So if everybody wants to get back to normal and get their lives on before corona, they have to buy your vaccine? Is that kind of like the people that want to send their kids to public school have to buy your vaccine? Is that like people that want to work in the healthcare industry have to buy your vaccine?
Now, I've said over and over again, this is not a pro-vax or anti-vax argument. It's more an issue of medical freedom. One size does not fit all. And in fact, modern medicine teaches us that you want to give the right medicine for the right person at the right time. This is called personalized medicine or precision medicine. I get invited all over the world to give talks on this. But fundamentally, even the foundations of the discoveries of modern medicine are being violated by saying everyone should get the same medicine. Now, what does that sound like to you? That sounds to me like an authoritarian model of top-down medicine, which means a finite set of people are going to tell everyone else what to do because they want to use all of us to serve their economic interests.
So until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all.
One of the countries that does this extremely well, that treats their people like this, is China. The Chinese Communist Party. If you look at the history of China, China now has one of the world's biggest vaccine, if not the world's biggest, manufacturing of vaccines, the biggest consumer and the creator of vaccines. Property tycoon Ronnie Chan family made headlines last week for giving $350 million to Harvard University. If you look at many of the academics in the United States at the major institutions, many of them are involved in some way or the other selling intellectual property directly or indirectly to the Chinese government.
So could that be the reason so many American colleges and universities are pumping out activists, Marxists, communists? Damn, if we only knew.
So what I wanted to share there, here is an individual saying that the most important innovation of humankind has been vaccination.
If you look at the history of public health, you will find that the one innovation that had the largest impact on human health that's vaccinated.
Which is actually a false statement to save infectious diseases. What it actually was, as I've mentioned over and over again, it's been sanitation, it's been infrastructure, it was really investments that took place. If you look at the history in the 1900s, it was eliminating child labor, it was nutrition, it was a vitamin A therapy, it was sanitation. The plumber and the sanitation worker did far more for helping public health and eliminate infectious diseases long before the advent of vaccines. And because everyone needs to understand this, there are viruses all around us. We have 380 trillion viruses in us. We all get viruses, okay? Viruses come into us, they flow through us, and the immune system, most people's immune system is resilient. We take the virus in, our innate, our adapter, our interferon, our microbiome, all these amazing things that nature has given us, know how to manage the virus, handle it, and respond to it, and then ultimately you generate some type of antibodies and everything adjusts in your body, you get stronger and you move forward. That's the normal case. There is a small set of people, unfortunately in the United States, that set is growing, of immunocompromised people. Those people whose immune systems are weakened and dysfunctional by a lifetime of poor choices, by a lifetime of epigenetic issues, different diseases, people who take monoclonal antibodies, diabetes, etc. Many of which are, by the way, preventable, but Big Pharma does not want to prevent that. They thrive on growing that pool of immunocompromised people, right? That's where they make their trillions of dollars, which, by the way, is going down. So they want more and more and more immunocompromised people.
Hold on. So you're saying if we wash our hands regularly, wash our nasty asses regularly, keep garbage and human waste away from our residents, that we will naturally deter a lot of these diseases and fungus and bacteria and viruses that we're getting inoculated for? I don't know. That just don't make no sense to me.
One virus has disrupted the whole world. So first China put the world in ICU, and now it is selling them ventilators. Is China profiting from this outbreak? This is a book written in 1999, and this could offer clues into the Chinese mindset. It's called Unrestricted Warfare, China's Master Plan to Destroy America. It's a book on military strategy. It was written by two Chinese generals, Qiao Liang and Wang Xiangzu. The book makes an argument. It says that China cannot defeat America in a direct military confrontation, but it can leverage its economic prowess to leave the Americans behind.
These are news clips I found from a news station in India. Is there any reason whatsoever why American news isn't reporting this shit?
Harvard School of Public Health recently was taken over by a very large Chinese foundation. Now the Harvard School of Public Health is known as the T.F. Chan School of Public Health, and that organization is controlling U.S. health policy, or has a lot of say in it.
Infected victims were burned alive in Wuhan. This according to locals who spoke to Radio Free Asia, saying they heard screams coming from funeral home furnaces, while patients in hospitals said they saw living victims put in body bags. They believe it was done to make room for more hospital beds. The elderly with a lower chance of survival shipped off alive and conscious to incinerators.
Here in America, we have this thing called the Constitution. So I know nothing like that would happen here, but I was wondering if the World Health Organization would take a stand and make sure my civil liberties and my civil rights right here in the United States of America will be protected.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them.
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
It's funny as hell. It never gets old.
Here's another example of China creating opportunities from the crisis. Buying out distressed assets. Case in point, Australia. The Scott Morrison government is worried about Chinese companies taking over Australian businesses. Reports say Australia's Foreign Investment Review Board is now gearing up. Why? Because they fear takeover attempts from China. distressed Australian businesses and assets are on China's radar.
Harvard School of Public Health recently was taken over by a very large Chinese foundation.
Look, people, I am not against all vaccines, but I am against a lot of the ingredients they use in vaccines. I am against vaccines being imported in from America from other countries, and I am against vaccine ingredients being brought in from other countries. I became an anti-vaxxer about 6 years ago. You would not believe how I continuously have to defend that decision. You would not believe when I say that to people, their first approach is that I am ignorant. That decision is based out of ignorance. I do not know what I'm talking about. And you also have to remember, people that choose not to vaccinate, you can't get mad at them for not vaccinating, because if you are vaccinated, your children are vaccinated, then you are completely protected. So my unvaccination shouldn't affect you in the least, right? Well, I don't hear you ostracizing people that get AIDS from having unprotected sex or shooting up drugs. And that is just as contagious. I don't hear you shaming people that get Hep C from having unprotected sex. And I don't hear you ostracizing people that don't take the flu shot, because that is just as contagious and it is just as communicable. And don't even try to tell me that it bogs down healthcare, because I pay medical insurance to insure my health. So if I need to use that medical insurance, no matter what the reason, I've paid to use it. But my hope is that after you scroll through some of this video, maybe you'll understand the position I've taken. Maybe you'll understand that there's a whole market and there's a reason these vaccines are being driven. Maybe you too will have a problem with this sudden coronavirus out of the clear blue. Vaccines being brought in from China, vaccines being made in China, and all Americans being forced to take a vaccine.